Good morning and welcome to the Coffee with Chris show. It is Monday. What is this? December 28th. We're in the last stretch to the new year. I'm having a great morning. I don't know about you. As usual, I can't tell who's watching unless you drop in the comments and say hi. Good morning, Nick, and thank you. I had a great holiday. I got a new coffee maker, I got a new coffee mug, and new coffee. So I'm going to share with you the coffee that I'm drinking. Some of my best friends got me some coffee, and it's called Geek Grind. So you might want to check this out. It's like a sampling collection of coffees, and inside are a bunch of different types of coffee that you could try. There's a medium roast, there's light roast, there's an espresso roast, there's dark roast, there's even a cold brew roast. They're all whole bean, so I had to crack open my my coffee grinder and grinded up some beans today. So today I am trying the Elven Enlightenment Canopy blend. So I will let you know how that is. Right now, my new coffee maker, which is a 1-cup coffee maker, which is Baby Yoda themed. There was definitely a theme this year for Christmas. So I am getting ready to try this for the first time, and it is brewing my coffee, and it looks amazing. It's still going, so you're gonna try it with me. So yeah, that was what happened this for Christmas. I am very grateful. I have some amazing people in my life, so thank you to Jack and Jeff for the amazing coffee. You two are just absolute amazing human beings, and thank you to my wife for getting me this coffee maker, this 1-cup coffee maker, and new Baby Yoda mug. So I can't wait to show that off when it's done making my coffee. So how was your holiday? How was everyone's holiday? If you celebrated Christmas, I hope you all had a great, weekend, and was able to find ways to celebrate safely, via Zoom or whatever. The absolute sign in the back, where did I get it? Okay, so last year, actually now it's almost the year before, in 2019. Good morning, Camden. Good morning, Rick. In 2019, I was a manager over at the Baltimore Eagle, and when you work at a bar and you deal with liquor reps, they will bring you stuff. And I'm very grateful that yeah, I always use this word grateful, but our rep from Absolute gifted us this sign for the bar, and when we left, I was like, that I want. So yeah, it had been sitting on a shelf for a very long time, and I finally put it up. So I want to say my glasses are doing a thing. But yeah, that's where the Absolute sign came from. So shout out to Absolute. Thank you so much for being really an amazing company to work with while we were at the Eagle. Really, I really enjoyed our time there. So that is what's going on. Nick says, my Christmas Eve was stressful. My puppy got stung by a bee and had to rush her to the hospital. Oh my God, this is what's bad about having pets, is that they do crazy shit, and crazy shit happens, and you gotta get stuck with that bill. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Camden. Oh no, that breaks my heart. Your ceiling collapsed and your drag was water damaged and destroyed. Oh, Camden, you know what what I'm going to do is, I got your video on New Year's. I'm really like, if you watch New Year's show, the Fuck 2020, the remix, make sure you tip the fuck out of Camden and help them rebuild their drag, especially as we are getting ready to gear up for whatever is coming next in 2021. Good morning, Velvet. So like, yeah, like, please, like, I'm rooting for you, Camden. We're gonna help you get some of that back. We really will. So woo. We got a couple of news things to talk about, which is mildly eventful. Ooh, here goes my cup of coffee and my baby Yoda mug. So cute. But I need to fix this up. So, yeah, apparently Trump last night signed the stimulus bill, or signed the COVID relief bill, or passed the budget, or whatever the fuck you want to, whatever version of what that is you want to call it. It is definitely it's the budget. It was to prevent the shutdown, the government shutdown that was coming on Tuesday. And now that is not going to happen. And so we are looking like we're going to get a little bit of something in our accounts soon. So it'll be about $600 per person if you make under $75,000 a year, or you get $1,200 as a couple if you make less than what is that, $125,000 a year. So together. So that is what that's going to look like. Also, if you are like me and I'm on unemployment, so we get up until mid-March, I believe it's 11 weeks of unemployment support, about $300 a week. So that's the stimulus package on an individual level. There are some other things that are happening. There's some payroll protections that are coming through for small businesses, and things like that. So make sure you look that up and see, where you fall and what you qualify for. And especially after today, you'll be able to figure out how you can either claim your money or find out how that's coming to you. Oh, Landis, I am so sorry to hear about your loss. May your uncle rest in peace. I am so sorry to hear about your loss on Christmas morning. Were you able to at least talk to him and say goodbye and do all of that stuff? Because I think that's, when you lose somebody close, I think that's probably the hardest thing to kind of look back on, is to say that you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. So I hope that you did have that opportunity. Coffee is great. what else happened in the news? Gosh, I had a list. Oh, there was an explosion in Nashville on Christmas morning, which I really haven't been following so much. So if anybody knows any more information about that, please let me know. Uh, Apparently, Christmas morning there was a RV that was parked outside of a building, and it exploded on Christmas morning. It looked like only a couple of people were injured. It didn't look like anybody had died. And you know, that was definitely a terrifying thing to wake up to on Christmas morning as well. So just, I don't know, follow that. There's been a lot of conversation around the investigation to that explosion and all of that stuff. So you might want to follow up on that. Also, the COVID vaccine is out and being administered all over, and it's kind of slow to getting out as much as people thought it was going to be. I'm also one on the list of people who are very skeptical of the vaccine. So I already know at least one person who's taken it, and it's actually their birthday today. So I hope that this actually gets administered in a timely and safe fashion for everyone, so that we can get to a place of whatever this is going to look like. I'm not going to say that this is going to go back to normal, because I don't think we're going back to normal. I think we're going to go into whatever life is going to look like in the future. So this new strain that I heard is coming out of Europe right now, that is supposed to be deadlier. So I'm not hearing much detail around it. I'm just hearing I see a lot of headlines and a lot of like, this is what's happening, but not a lot of like, that's something I'm looking for when I look at COVID stuff. It's like, give me something that's real. And I haven't really seen anything that was detailed enough. But if you know something that I don't, please share. Apparently, they knew that this was going to mutate. They've been talking about that for a good while, because that is how viruses act. We've talked about this a lot on the show about the way that this is spread, especially here in this country, has been a very uncontrolled spread. So instead of kind of finding ways to control and track people who have entered the country back when it started about this virus and this disease, there was no trace about it, and there was nothing done. Then we have widespread kind of panic and almost narcissism around like how you feel about doing some, protections around yourself and others. Because this is a thing where your livelihood isn't the only thing that's on your brain when you go out. You actually have to be mindful of everyone. So you're wearing a mask not just to protect yourself, but you're protecting others, which means that those who don't want to wear a mask, they don't care. So we're in this very crazy spinning around nonsense in this world around COVID. So I don't know. And I'm actually really concerned about the ways in which this will continue to mutate and change without doctors and health professionals actually being able to get a grip on research and seeing why some people are getting it this way and why others aren't doing that. There's just no way to ever track. There's too many people who have it, and it's just beyond out of control. So I don't know. Like, we don't know what this is going to look like and how these things will continue to change over time without any kind of research. And then with Trump taking us out of like the World Health Organization, things like that, there's no sharing of information of what other countries have figured out either. So, that is seriously where we are. Um, and it will continue. And it's a virus. Like, it's going to always change. Like, the flu changes every year, is why we get flu shots every year. Um, and so, like, it's going to change. I think both, but I don't think it's realistic to say that either anymore. I don't feel like it's realistic to feel like we should have a mandate or lockdown, because there's too many people. There's so much random information out there that we've already created this very harsh divide in this country about whether or not we should wear masks or not. Like, that's where we're at. And even when Biden comes into office next month, I don't think that that's ever going to change. That kind of like sharp, disconnect between either side of the aisle exists already. And no matter how many people who are these anti-maskers, who we automatically associate with Trumpers, right? So, like, if you're an anti-masker, we assume that you're a pro-Trump person. But all these anti-maskers who are going around and not really caring, no matter how many people they know have gotten sick or have died, they are staying on the fact that whatever they believe is correct and things are just what they are. And that's because you have someone who has allowed them to think that way. And Camden's got somebody, your best friend is in the ICU. Like, this is like that's the reality, right? And then you have the other side of people who just don't trust any of that. There are people who feel like there's especially black folks in this country. A lot of black folks feel like you go into the hospital and the next thing you know, you're being told that you have COVID, and the next thing you know that you're dying. There's a lot of mistrust there around the healthcare industry with black people. So, like, you've got those people who don't believe in any of it. You've got, the Trump anti-maskers who feel like they have no reason to believe in it, especially if you're a Trump anti-masker that lives in a neighborhood where your house is a significant ways away from your neighbors, where it is very easy to social distance, that whole thing. Because they're just like, well, nobody's getting sick. Well, because it's actually easier for you to be away from all this. And so you have, their leader who has really been cavalier and casual about COVID and has not taken this seriously at all, at least in the public eye. And that's where we're at. So, like, there's those of us who are taking this seriously and are putting our mask on and being, socially conscious about who we're spending time with and all of that stuff, who were responsible enough to stay home and Zoom with family and not travel and not go places where we didn't have to. All of those things that most of us are doing. You still got way too many people who just have zero trust or belief in anything that they're reading. And that's makes everything kind of pointless, in my opinion. And so, you're right, Landis. Like, he caused a lot of this mistrust. He absolutely did. And that's all just because he was very cavalier. He actually publicly showed distrust in doctors, medical professionals, doctors and scientists in a very public way. That kind of public distrust in your own team. Come on now. If you are a pro-Trump person, then you aren't going to believe any of this shit either. And that just causes a lot of people to kind of figure it out on their own. So every state has had to figure it out on their own. and just do the best that they can to try to protect you from getting sick, and also maintaining the economy, because there's no protection for the economy either. So there's nothing. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the economy, and talking about a major industry that has been hit. And it's an industry that I know some of us here that are watching are part of, and have a hand in. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that has forever been changed because of COVID. And I think that, without protections for the way money flows, it's putting a lot of states in a very, very tight place to figure out how to prevent people from dying, and also prevent people from dying from hunger or being homeless or losing their businesses. And economy is not just about your business being open. It's not about your bar being open. It's not just about these things. The economy is how money moves. And if money isn't moving and cycling through your communities and in your state and your town, then there's problems. So if you don't go to work and you don't make money and you don't go buy stuff and pay bills, then that money doesn't cycle over. When you don't go out and buy stuff, because every time you buy stuff, you're actually making another business money, and that business hires people so they can go out and buy stuff and then support another business. If that money's not moving, the money stops moving, we're in a lot of trouble. And a lot of states are trying to figure out how to keep money moving. And that's a huge problem across the country right now, is how to keep money moving. And, just giving us money from the government, this is probably why some Republicans are so anti this, is because just getting money from the government doesn't actually help cycle the money as freely as it should. But what Democrats want is for us to stay at home and lock down and hunker down and get the virus under control, and make sure that we can at least move money out. At least you can go order something at least go get something from Amazon, or get something from here or there, because at least that money is going somewhere. Pay your bills, at least do these small things. But money can't cycle properly if businesses aren't open, right? So if your favorite bar or restaurant's not open, you're not giving money to these bars and restaurants, so that money cycles that way. And the fact that the bar and restaurant industry is actually super huge, and probably one of the most undervalued industries that we have, because when you look at someone who's a server or a bartender or works at McDonald's or Burger King, you look at them as a low-class, low-level employee, which actually they're part of one of the biggest industries in the country. And they get paid the less, they get paid the least, and a lot of these people are in, we call it they're in positions where people who work at McDonald's, stuff they have to go to work. They're going to work every day, and they have to deal with people going through the drive-thru every day, and fucking Uber Eats and all that other shit. And it's a huge fucking industry that we collectively shit on. Let's just be real. If you've never worked in the bar restaurant industry, and you've been mad at a server for whatever reason, and you never know what that industry looks like unless you worked in it. I'll just let you know right now. Being someone who has been a server and has worked in the bar industry, you have no idea. And then beyond the bar and restaurant industry, we're talking about entertainment and nightlife. So we've got drag performers, musicians, people who, even when you talk about going to a concert. So let's say you wanted to, I don't know why I just thought about Drake for some reason, but let's say you wanted to go see Drake. You're not just seeing Drake, didn't put that concert on by himself. So the venue makes money. people who are selling you beer and hot dogs and all of that. That's a huge industry. That's a huge moneymaker for concerts and sports and stuff like that. So no concessions. The people who take your tickets, that is another bigger industry. And also you've got the ushers, people who deal with the crowds and all that stuff. All of the stagehands that build up the stages and set up the lights and all that stuff, the people who actually work the lights. And then you've got, all the people who handle all the equipment, all that. There's so many jobs that are gone because there are no concerts and there are no, there's no sporting events where people can, go to the sporting events. So all of those things are gone. And, this article from the New York Times where it talks about the cultural depression for unemployed performers, entertainment, gig workers, all of that stuff. You're also talking about a huge industry of people who work in cash money. So, I saw there was an article where, was it Tom Selleck? Yeah, Tom Selleck and his mustache. He left a tip for like $2,020, right? And people were just like, oh, that's so fucking generous and all that shit. Do you know, I wonder if that bar or that restaurant was able to pay out that fucking tip. Because now, with everybody ordering through Uber Eats and Grubhub, also doing as contactless payment as possible by paying by credit card, these bars and restaurants aren't holding cash. So when the servers are getting all these tips through your credit card, the bar has to have cash on hand to pay those tips out. And if cash isn't flowing and the bar doesn't have cash, it makes it more difficult for the bars to make sure that the servers are getting the tips that they're owed. So it's very tough. Good morning, Ezra. Landa says I own a lighting decor business and we have had no events in 2020 due to COVID. To lay off the whole team. Jesus. And that sucks. Being someone who is who puts on events, who produces events, like this has been hard. I had not really produced a virtual drag show all year until just now. I've done some fundraisers and things like that, but I don't consider that a virtual drag show. But like, this is my first, this is the first time I'm actually hosting a New Year's Eve party. I've never done, I can't believe I haven't done that yet. But yeah, this has been, incredibly, it has been incredibly hard. I know, other people, I have another good friend who is an event planner, and that's gone. Wedding planners have had to rework how they do their business, and with having smaller weddings, you're not really hiring wedding planners, or you're not hiring more wedding vendors. You're not looking for a photographer. You're not going to look for a $3,000 photographer for a wedding for just 10 people. So all of these like industries are just falling apart. And the longer that we're in this situation, what ends up happening is all these gig workers and all of these entertainers and all these event planners, what they're going to do is find something else to do. You're either going to find something else to do, or you can't sit around forever because there's no protection for what you've lost. So let's say you go into another industry. What happens? What happens when things kind of come back? Do you just drop what you were doing? That's not always possible. So it's a major hit. Hollywood has been majorly hit. There's another article out about Tom, what's that dude's name? Tom Cruise, who screamed at his staff over in, I believe they're in England, filming a Mission Impossible. And he screamed at his staff, and this has been a very polarizing conversation around his behavior, but he's screaming at his staff. He's like, this film set is the gold standard of working in COVID. And then he's got like staff who isn't social distancing or wearing masks and stuff like that. And he lost it. And some people were just like, good for him for yelling at the staff. And people were like, that's just no way to behave. And I'm just like, there is so much on the line for if you don't figure out how to do this. There are so many people. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have lost their jobs and lost their way of living and are trying to figure out how to do this. How do you continue to make films? How do you continue to do television? How do you continue to, be a musician? How all the musicians who play in bars every day and make a living off of that, a complete living off of it. I think I've talked about Angelique Henley here on the show. She and some others are some of the people who play a lot of bars down at Fells Point. No bar means no work for them. Bar only at 25% means bar can't afford to pay a musician to sit there. Like, these people have lost their complete incomes. Nick says, I do a side business through drag bingo, poker fundraisers, casino nights events, and all that stopped in March. I've lost at least $15,000 for the year from that. Yeah. I mean, that's fucking hard. So when you go and apply for unemployment, gig workers who, gig workers who are on unemployment, who work under the table, mostly, you might get paid gig to gig. There's no payroll. And then so like unemployment for me, they're like, prove your income. I'm like, what? I've been hustling through this for many years. I don't know how to prove my income. I've just been surviving. And I don't get payroll checks, and I don't get, I get like somebody dropping money in my Venmo or in my PayPal. Like, that's how I've been surviving. And so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to go back? And I guess I got to go back and actually like document every time somebody sent me $50, and like, the ways in which the economy is not set up to protect this industry is sick. And let me go into the actual. Where are you? No, that's not what I wanted. Oh no, did my camera go out? Oh, there I am. I'm like, no. Okay, that's what happened. Okay. And pay taxes on it. See, that's the thing. Like, making money in the ways that a lot of us gig workers make money, and pay taxes on that $50 that somebody sent me because I like helped them like set up whatever it was. I don't want to pay taxes on that time that I took pictures at that bar that time, This is the title. It says, a great cultural depression looms for legions of unemployed performers. Theaters, concert halls shuttered. Unemployment in the arts have cut deeper than in the restaurants and other hard-hit industries. And I think I was talking to somebody. I was like, so back in 2008, we had a housing crisis, right? And a bank crisis. So the housing market and the bank market had to figure some shit out. In the early 2000s, there was a tech bubble bust. So like these websites, all the websites was they all fell apart. They had to figure it out. In the early 80s, in the late 70s, there was a video game bubble busted, and all of that had to change. A lot of industries have been hit before, but one industry has always kind of been able to maintain since the Great Depression, which was the bar and restaurant industry. And even through the Great Depression, the bar and restaurant industry kind of always, because of Prohibition. So like, there's always been something. But Prohibition did hurt the restaurant and bar industry hugely. So I think it's just its turn. But entertainment has always been a key part of our culture. And now, what do you do? So you've got a lot of people trying to figure it out. We're trying to do virtual shit. And, even me doing this show, and I've been doing this show for 4 years, but like, even me doing the show, like, you're only going to watch it if you catch it. Like, you're only going to watch it if you happen to be up and you're not doing anything else. So these virtual events and virtual shows don't create any kind of urgency for you to participate. And there is the lack of willingness to move money through virtual events is also very hard. I was trying to find the part where it says during the quarter ending in September, when the overall unemployment rate averaged about 8.5%, 52% of actors, 55% of dancers, 27% of musicians are out of work. And by comparison, the jobless rate was 27% for waiters, 19% for cooks, and 13% for retail sales people. And this is September, but this is either the end of September. So during the summer where people were starting to try to reopen, that's probably why those numbers dipped a little bit. For people who are servers and cooks and things like that. But that number was definitely way higher in the spring. So it says, in many areas, arts venues, theaters, clubs, performance spaces, concert halls, festivals were the first businesses to close and likely among the last to reopen. Because we shit on this industry so fucking hard. We shit on it. And we take it for granted. So before all this went down, we had, people would throw events and parties, and you always had so many choices of things to do. And the more choices you have to do stuff, the less active people are, right? The less active you want to go out. And so the first things to start closing are, oh, sorry, my phone rang. The first things to start closing were gay bars, gay and lesbian bars. Well, actually, first was the lesbians bars. Lesbian bars were by far the first things to really start chopping off. And then now gay bars are starting to fall off. I mean, here in Baltimore, we are down to 1, 2, 3. Are we down to like about 4? And I'm counting the Eagle, the Drinkery, Leon's, and Mixers. If I'm missing something, let me know. But I'm counting about 4 gay bars left in the city right now. And this is a city that had, at some point at its peak, back when I was younger in my 20s, we were up to at least 3 lesbian bars and gay bars. Those are the first industries to be cut down. So this is something that's not necessarily new to COVID, but something that has been looming. And also with big nightclubs and things like that, they were falling apart too. Too many options means that people don't really want to do anything. And the Rowan Tree, sorry, so 5. Thank you. I knew I was missing something, right? So all of these options, and people stop going out, stop participating, stop moving the money in those places. And then we had a lot of, being upset. Our places are closing, all this stuff, right? So here we are. Here we are in COVID. And now everything is gone. You know, all of those entertainment venues are gone. And this is affecting straight people, right? So now that, you know, that's a whole thing. Because every time a bar closes, every time a queer bar closes, you're not just losing a place for you to go dance and meet someone. All of those bartenders, bar backs, managers, entertainment, all of those things go away. All those people lose their jobs. And especially in the performance and drag industry, when a city loses a bar and a venue to perform, it means that it's even harder for performers to do what they do, and there's not enough spaces to create events, which means that the actual drag community starts to shrink. And it's not great. You know, like, it's just not great. And you know, I guess until it happens on this scale, I think that we took this for granted. We took entertainment, people who actually make a living into entertaining you, for granted. And we took it for granted so much. I gotta find this. Here we go. So the median annual salary for a full-time musician and singers were $42,800, and it was $40,500 for actors and $36,500 for dancers and choreographers. And many artists work other jobs to cobble together a living, which is often in the restaurant, bar, retail, hospitality industries, where work has also dried up. So I looked up how much it costs to get a hotel room in New York on Christmas. Now, before this year, getting a hotel room in New York City during Christmas, that's going to Rockefeller Center. That is all that is magical in New York for Christmas, where hotel rooms will go all the way up to about $700-800 a night. And I'm bougie. I want to stay at the Marriott, or I want to stay at the Hilton. Okay, so I'm bougie. And those hotel rooms right in Times Square would be about $700 a night. I looked up how much it would cost to go to New York for a night for Christmas, and it was less than $100 for a room. That is devastating. That's devastating. That means those hotels are empty. That means all of everything that's going along Times Square, all the way up 36th Street, and where, you know, Macy's, all of that tourism for the holidays was dead. And I don't know about you, but every street performer who goes, I can't wait for Christmas to get out. It's like, I'm getting like emotional about it, because all of those people who are trying to feed their families and hustle, and New York is the capital of the hustle. And all of those people who depend on that travel and that and all of that, they weren't able to provide for Christmas this year. They weren't able to provide for their families this year. And I don't know if we thought about it and we created space, at least in our minds, about all of those people who lost out. So Rick just said, corporations are wanting to cut their profit margins. Well, here's the thing. Every building that has, office building, and you go to work every day, you take the train, you go to work. So these office buildings that have cafes downstairs and people are not going to work, all of those people who work in those cafes, from the people who cook the food to serving you the food, and all of those small places that are open during business hours, they're gone. The people who make a living cleaning office buildings are done. The person who sits at the desk, who lets people in and up, if the building is closed, the building is closed. just how many people work in the background. If you were someone who has been lucky enough to stay at home and work, and haven't thought about all of the support that goes into making you being in that office happen, I think that it's time for you to take a second to realize just how fucking lucky you are. Also, this right here, it says we are resilient and not used to having regular paychecks, but since March, hardly anyone has even paid the minor fees required by their contracts. They said someone owed them $75 and they wouldn't even pay them the $75. There's a DJ, Tim Wu is a 31-year-old DJ, singer, producer who will work over 100 shows a year. And his job is gone. It says the broader arts and culture sector that includes Hollywood and publishing constitutes an $878 billion industry. That is a bigger part of the American economy than sports, transportation, construction, or agriculture. That's a bigger part of this economy than food. I just want you to understand that that's what this says. It says it is a bigger part of the American economy than sports, transportation, construction, or agriculture. The sector supports 5.1 million wage and salary jobs, according to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. And this is including agents, makeup artists, hairstylists, tailors, janitors, stagehands, ushers, electricians, sound engineers, concession sellers, camera operators, administrators, construction crews, designers, writers, directors, and more. These are your gig workers. And these are your gig workers who have really gotten fucked over by this whole thing. And fucked over in a way that while these restaurant owners are outside, crying like, I want my bars or my restaurants to open, and pushing towards like still trying to open up and still kind of like being unsafe, because every day that people are trying to push these rules, these regulations to the wire, every day that happens prolongs the process of whatever the fuck needs to happen so that these people can go back to work, right? So while you're crying because you can't go to fucking Applebee's and get your salad, you got to think about the repercussions that are happening because you needed that more than anything. And instead of trying to build protections so that bars and restaurants can close safely and actually be able to take care of their staff so that we can, for a period of time, stay safe, stay home, and lock down and mask up, that everyone can open. Do you see if you don't, just not having the protections to have, and other countries do. Other countries have these protections to make sure that people could have stayed home, still gotten paid, and then so that the country could lock down, be safe, contact trace, control the virus, the spread of the virus, and then open everything back up so everyone can go back to work. Without that very basic foundation of giving a fuck about our livelihood and maintaining our economy, we've destroyed an entire industry. Destroyed it. This world will forever be changed in the ways that we consume entertainment. And like, quite frankly, our government did not give a fuck about it. Not one serious minor fuck. It was more hurtful for the economy to keep opening the way we did than to just unifiably close or uniformly close and be safe. And then together we could have gotten ourselves back up. But because our government failed us so hard this year, we've lost an entire year of an industry that is bigger than sports, transportation, construction, or agriculture. And I just hope that that sits with you today and as we go into the new year, and think about every person, every gig worker, every person who lives Venmo payment by Venmo payment, who is not getting any help and support from the government through unemployment or anything like that. I still want everyone to please write down 10 things that you loved about this year, 10 of the greatest moments of your 2020. And as you share your gratitude, I want you to think about those who really fucking suffered, and how, because we were so fucking greedy and so fucking needing of a haircut, that we could not wait. And now we have an industry that is forever changed and destroyed. It needs to be completely rebuilt and reimagined. So, on that note, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, or follow this page here, The Coffee with Chris Show. I'm here Monday through Friday, except for this Friday because it's New Year's Day. And tomorrow, I'm not doing a top 10 tomorrow. I am doing that top 10 on YouTube. So it will be posted on YouTube, the top 10 videos. But here we'll be talking about the news and events. On Wednesday, we have the question of the day, and on Thursday, my wife and I will be doing our top 10 moments of 2020 as we go into the new year. So make sure you continue to follow Coffee with Chris Show. I'm on all of the social platforms, so you could find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So until tomorrow, please have a safe day. Enjoy your Monday. And this is your motivation today, is to feel grateful for where you are, and make sure you're thinking about other people. And for all of you who are gig workers, you are resilient, and you are brave, and you are talented beyond imagine, and you are grossly underestimated in the value that you provide in this world. And we love you and thank you for everything that you have given us, because without those gig workers, we would not have great style, fun dances on TikTok, and just amazing times that we've had with our friends out in bars and restaurants. Those people created those situations and made that space for us. So if you know a gig worker, thank them for what they've done. And, if you can help them out, give them money. Definitely. Until tomorrow, y'all have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.